everyone, welcome back to my channel, and today we are going to be making some pies. So right now I'm going to show you how to make some pie crust. So I'm adding in my 2 cups of flour and salt into a mixing bowl, and I'm going to stir those up, and then I'm going to grab some chilled butter Crisco from the fridge. I'm going to use a whole cup of it and put it in my bowl of flour and salt, and I'm going to make sure that the Crisco is covered in the flour first, and then I am going to chop it up into pea-sized bits of butter of Crisco. So I'm just going to move it around. You can use a fork if you don't have one of these pastry cutters, and just keep mixing it around until you have small pieces of your butter or fat. After that's all chopped up, you're going to want a small bowl and fill it with ice and some water, and you're going to slowly add in a couple tablespoons of this ice water and mix it around with a fork until you get a dough, a ball of dough. That's how you'll know you'll be done. If it doesn't start to form a ball, just keep adding more ice water until it clumps together. And once it's all in a ball of dough, I'm going to get some cling wrap, some plastic wrap, and wrap up the dough, flatten it down so it's easier to roll out later, and put it in the fridge to chill. Pie we're going to make is pumpkin pie. So I'm going to add some sugar into this bowl as well as our seasoning. So I'm just going to use the pumpkin pie spice blend and add 2 teaspoons of that along with some salt, and just mix that together. So you want to keep your dry ingredients separate from your wet ingredients at first. For our wet ingredients, I'm going to get 2 large eggs and crack those into a bowl and mix them up slightly. And after those are mixed up, I'm going to open up 1 15-ounce can of pumpkin, just the plain pumpkin, not pumpkin pie mix. So you want pure pumpkin, and you're going to add that in and mix it around a little bit, and then you can add in your dry ingredients. So just make sure that's all combined, and the last thing you're going to add is a can of evaporated milk. So slowly add in that milk. I just did like half of the can first, and then added in the rest of the milk, and that's it for your pie filling. Now I just grabbed my pie crust out of the fridge. It's been chilling for about 20-30 minutes, and I'm going to make sure my countertop is well floured. I've had problems with it sticking a lot before, so I use a lot of flour. I'm going to turn it while I can so that it doesn't stick, but just keep adding more flour so that your pie crust doesn't stick and rip. With the Crisco, this does roll out pretty smoothly, so just roll it out to the desired thickness. I keep mine kind of thick, not super thin. So I'm just going to keep rolling it out, and then until it's the same size until it's bigger than the pie dish that I'm going to use. And once it's bigger than my pie dish, then I can lift it up and put that into the dish. crust is in, I'm just going to crimp any places that ripped. It's okay if it ripped, just add in some extra pie dough and pinch it together. You'll be okay. So now I'm just lifting the excess up and pushing it down so that it meets the bottom and the wall of the pie dish. You don't want like a gap in between there. You want to make sure that the crust is fitting snug against the wall. So it's easier if you lift it up and then let it fall down and press it down. Now I'm just going to trim any excess pie crust. You can save it and use it for later, throw it away, whatever you prefer. And once that is all cut, we are going to fold up the excess so that it stands like a wall. So you're just going to fold it up around the entire pie, and then we will crimp the crust in whatever pattern you like. You don't have to crimp it, you can use a fork or whatever. I wanted to attempt crimping this time, so I just used I just put my thumb and my index finger together and pushed my right hand into that little crevice that I made. I found it's a little bit easier whenever you separate them more, so don't try to put a bunch in there. It's kind of easier whenever you do less crimps. And then I'm just going to use a fork too and poke the holes, that way we don't get a soggy bottom in our pie crust. Just grab the pumpkin pie filling that you made before and fill up your pie crust, and then you're going to want to place this on a baking sheet and place it in your oven. You're going to start at 425 and then lower your oven temperature to 350 to bake your pumpkin pie. Moving on to the second pie, which is pecan pie, I'm going to add in some sugar and corn syrup into a pot. And I'm going to want to bring this to a boil and let it boil for 2 minutes and let it slightly cool. While you're doing this, I would suggest cracking 4 eggs. You're going to need 4 eggs after this is all boiled into a separate bowl. So get your eggs cracked and then make sure you watch your corn syrup and let it boil for 2 minutes. Now you're going to slowly add in your syrup mixture into the 4 eggs that you cracked and slightly mixed in the bowl. You don't want it too hot so that your eggs don't scramble, but if your eggs do scramble a little bit, that's okay. Just sift it so that you get out any lumps. I got a couple of cooked egg whites, so I just used a sifter and strained out the syrup mixture before I add in our pecans. Now you want to get your pecans ready. I don't suggest chopping them up, just break them apart with your hands and then add in some melted butter and vanilla extract and mix that up with your syrup mixture. And then you're just going to pour that into your chilled pie crust and bake it for about 15 minutes. That's it for our pies. I hope you like them and try to recreate them at home.